We'll proceed from here and have an interaction on Green Ghana Day. And we have Daryl Bosu. He is with Arusha Ghana. He joins us for a conversation. Of course, we know that today is in a series of Green Ghana Days that we have had. And there have been many incidents, many developments on the Galamsey front, on the reforestation front. Well, joining us for a conversation on this today, we have Daryl Bosu with Arusha Ghana. Daryl, a very good morning to you.
Yes, good morning, Benjamin. I trust you are well. And I also want to send well wishes to and sympathies to the family of Modestus. Yes, and like you said, make a story rest in peace. We'll miss him dearly. Yeah.
We thank you, Daryl, for commiserating with us. He was like a brother to most of us. Yes, but on the Green Ghana Day front, this is about the third in a series that we're having.
Yeah.
What would you spell out to be the gains we have made so far? In fact, when you look at the Finder newspaper, it gives a bit of a breakdown. It talks about the fact that 24.39 million trees out of 33 million trees planted over the years have survived. That's a survival rate of 74%.
Yeah.
We have the 7 million trees planted in 2021. That is in the first year of the tree planting exercise in 2021, the target was to plant 5 million trees. It was exceeded. But on the front of what the gains have been, what would you say? It's a positive, isn't it?
And Benjamin, thank you very much for the opportunity. I think for us, we see Green Ghana as, we view Green Ghana in a way that is with mixed feelings, because also we believe that the initiative is good to rally the citizens together and also encourage citizens to plant trees. But even as I say this, I need to mention that, as we know, communities and many organizations have for a long time been planting trees, even before the government decided to join the wagon. So we want to say it's good the government has taken all the suggestions from the past to really rally people together and plant trees. And so it's good to see the government fronting this whole initiative. That is great. Now, you asked about whether it's been positive or not since it was started. The way we say it, you cannot take Green Ghana out of context. The whole agenda of Green Ghana is to ensure that we restore our degraded forests in the country. As you know, Ghana has, in the last, I would say, 5 to 6 years, been in the bad news for having one of the countries losing its forests very quickly. And so government action was to try and bring in Green Ghana so that we can restore all our degraded areas and also revamp the forestry sector. But what we've seen is that, yes, we are planting all these trees. Some are horticultural plants, some are also native species and all of that. We are planting them in the millions, and then we are getting reports that a certain percentage has survived and all of that. Yes, there are issues with whether the monitoring is really as it is, but that is not what I'm going to talk about. What rather I believe we need to focus on and also think about in terms of whether it's really achieving results is the fact that how much are we planting, how much is being destroyed, and then how do these two match? Because what we have seen is that this program was started in the last 2 years. So this is the third year. We need to ask ourselves, within the same period that we claim we are planting trees, how much of our forest has also been destroyed through other active policies of government? So for us, if you look at the destruction of our forest reserves and existing forest reserves through prospecting licenses granted by government itself for companies to go and have access to forest reserves, which are areas where you have old growth forest, biodiversity, water resources, and several other services for nature and also for people, to be destroyed by some activities of mining, all promulgated because government is pushing an agenda of accelerated extractive industry. Then you ask yourself whether Green Ghana and we going planting trees it's just not an issue of greenwashing. Because they know that a lot is happening when you leave Accra in terms of the destruction of our forests. You see new, I'll say, filling stations springing up and taking over wetlands as you drive across the country. Whether you go east or north or south, wetlands are being converted left and right. Ramsar sites are being taken over by real estate developers, and forest reserves being taken over by miners. Artisanal miners are also all over the place and all of that. And you ask yourself, this Green Ghana agenda, is it not just a cover? And for us, we are only convinced that it is just Ghana's way of greenwashing and distracting all of us from seeing the mess that is happening when you leave Accra. So behind
did you just say, Daryl, did you just say it was Ghana's way of greenwashing? And
what I said is the government's way of greenwashing the mess, the environmental mess and destruction that is happening when you leave Accra.
So then are you referring to this as a mere charade of sorts, something to save face when the real disaster is happening elsewhere? Is that what you're suggesting?
Exactly what I'm saying, because there's so much happening, and because if you look at the other forest that is also being destroyed across the country, and these exercises of planting trees, with a lot of tree planting in the media, all of these things are good that several agencies could have been doing and all of that. It's all good, but my point is that we need to look at that in the bigger picture. And if you take the Green Ghana as it is within the scheme of the bigger picture of we greening the country, we cannot be given with our right and be taken with our left as the government is doing now. So for us, it's just to help us all, get distracted by the fact that, yes, we are doing Green Ghana, but anytime we do that, we are actually not paying attention. And there has been consistently a lot of calls on government to try and put its act together when it comes to really securing existing forests. And that we don't see happening. And we believe that until the two can be merged, that both strategies are merged together and are consistent in policy and strategy, we are not going to achieve anything. And this exercise will all be futility.
Are you impressed by the survival rate of the seedlings that were planted, or the trees that have been planted over these last expeditions when it comes to Green Ghana? That is a step in the right direction, right? At least because on the back of the last few years and what we've heard about our forest covers depletion, that is a positive. Is it something that you would want us to continue even beyond this administration?
So the I would say generative rate of these trees and all of that is great. And I think that we've all been very strategic in the fact that this exercise happens in the peak of the rainy season all across the country. I know for this year, there are some dry spells in the northern part of the country. So I know most people might not be planting now, but in the month of June, the rain is certainly going to come and people are going to join the exercise, so which is all great. But I have to say, you asked a question about, is this something we need to continue going forward? This is what we want to suggest. Because, yes, Green Ghana has been great. We need to institutionalize this program in our existing institutions. I say this because an institution like the Forestry Commission has the capacity, the resources, both men and women on the ground, working across the country with systems in place to actually do this almost all the time. We don't need a special day. The special day could be there, all right, but I think that we need to take it out of the government spending so much money, controlling it from the ministry, and give it to very technical institutions like Forestry Commission so that they can lead the exercise completely without even all of us knowing what is happening. Now, the other thing, most of this planting, a lot is happening off reserve and all of that. We need to now take advantage of the Green Ghana agenda and actually secure and protect our forest reserves. And this one, I mean existing forest reserves. At the moment, we are not seeing that happen as it should. And that is why we see Galamsey people fighting with the Forestry Commission and the staff as to who has access to the forest reserves and who should protect it or who should have access to it. So I think until we really connect the two, we are not going to get anywhere. Green Ghana is good. but it needs to be really institutionalized, taken over by the Forestry Commission. All the resources that is being used, spent on a particular day, and for which budgets are allocated, needs to be brought into the Forestry Commission system to become an operational fund they use every day, every month, every year to secure forest reserves, even while they go on agenda on restoring all the degraded forests in this country, so that we don't have to spend a lot of money the way we are doing it as it is.
In terms of the cost factor, we have been told about how much we've been spending on this enterprise, millions and millions of CDs. We've also been made aware that a lot of the seedling suppliers have not been paid, and we are embarking on yet another campaign. On that front, what do you have to say?
Yes, I think, like I said, the program is very good, but the way it's been implemented. You see, this program is being handled by the Ministry of Lands, directly by the ministry, and they are co-opting other agencies to support. If this was really given to the Forestry Commission to really take charge, because Forestry Commission itself has got nurseries at their district offices, they have youth in employment or youth in afforestation, national service personnel. All of these people could have been at the district forest service offices supporting in raising seedlings without really having to look at contracting other private nursery producers. So that the system, the institution, internalize the process of raising seedlings all year round, so that at any point in time anybody wants seedlings, we can get access to it without having to wait for a Green Ghana Day before you are told, go to this place for seedlings, go to this place. But you realize that right after the Green Ghana Day, if you start looking for seedlings, it's very difficult to get, because almost everyone has exhausted their stock. But we need to have a system where there's a running nursery that is kept by the Forestry Commission all across the country, anytime, any day. Because people, you really can plant trees any time of the year if you have water to make sure that you nourish the plants that you put in the ground and nurture it within the year. So I believe that if we really take that resource, that money, all of it, and it's surprising that we allocate all these money to the program, and yet so some people are not paid. So I think that we also need to look at our accountability system in that sense, and how government is really being judicious to the use of those resources, and how the right institutions are co-opted and involved, and even being made to own the process right from the beginning. So we don't have all these challenges with some private nursery producers or student producers are not able to have access to their funds because the government doesn't have sufficient funds. So where was the money that was allocated for? Where did that go?
Let's now talk about the Etiwa forest, as all of this ties into the conversation we're having in terms of our sustainability when it comes to water and our flora and fauna, so to speak. I saw you recently, together with my colleague Aisha Ibrahim, on that stretch. What do you make of that ecological paradise or haven and the plans that are still afoot to use it for mining bauxite? What would you have to say? On this day, we would have to talk about Etiwa as well. What are going to be your remarks on that?
Thank you very much. And I need to say that, the whole agenda of Green Ghana actually revolves around areas and places like Etiwa Forest and several other forest reserves in this country who are, over time, we have seen have become the subject of interest of government to really target them for mining. And if we really, as a country, we are committed to greening our country, as we say, then it means that we need to set ourselves a strategy and a policy that really, helps us to say there are certain areas in this country that no matter what the pressure, we are not going to touch it. And that means that places like Etiwa Forest, as you know, this forest is so significant in the socio-ecological and socio-economic development of this country, in the sense that it's the source of water for over 5 million Ghanaians, serving 3 regions in this country. The forest reserve is also very significant for its biodiversity richness, and also the fact that you can count no less than 100 species considered critically endangered, making it very significant as a biodiversity hotspot in the world. And then again, in terms of the increasing temperature rising and precipitation and also the erratic nature of rainfall, the forest is on record to be very significant for helping Ghana reduce and completely manage the microclimate as we see temperatures increasing all over the world. So in that respect, and also the very fact that even if we say there is minerals in there, Minerals Commission itself has said this forest has got less than 20% of Ghana's bauxite. And even more so, the fact that it is also of poor quality. Now, if you look at the real opportunity cost and the trade-off, what we stand to lose, touching this forest and losing our services for water and biodiversity, you ask yourself, what then will warrant Ghana's commitment to show that we really are committed to Green Ghana than to save places like Atua Forest? And in that respect, we also translate and let that extrapolate to other existing forest reserves across the country. So for us, once we say we are talking about Green Ghana is about saving forests and also protecting forests, restoring forests that are so significant to our lives that if we do away with them, we are really going to be in a big, big, big mess. And so for us, we believe that this is one area that the government needs to pay attention to. And the fact that right now we have become so lax in our effort to secure and protect some of these forests. We know the minister not too long ago when they were talking about the state of forest reserves in this country made the statement that they have deployed the military around all our forest reserves. Benjamin, there is no truth in that assertion. And it's really unfortunate that they keep saying that over and over and over again. Upper Prama Forest, Kano Mimiri Forest, places as crucial like Atua as it is, are all currently under siege. So for us, Green Ghana is, and that's why we say that the whole Green Ghana agenda should first prioritize securing existing forest reserves like Atua Forest. And really, even if we think we have to mine, we need to set boundaries for ourselves, and not the way we are going about this as it is.
So regardless of the benefits that the government has reiterated we stand to gain as a country, you still feel we should leave Etiwa alone?
Yeah, Benjamin, I think I also brought up the point of the fact that you need to look at the trade-off. The government...
I'm only saying this because, not because I'm not aware of the points you're making, but because
I agree.
Regardless of these calls, government has dug its heels in and set time without number that we have other gains to make from Etiwa, for which reason they will go ahead.
Well, and to that, what we have been saying is that assertion is actually not justified because government says that we need to take advantage of our bauxite resources and develop an integrated aluminum industry. Now, if you look across the country, certain areas of the country have got about 80% of Ghana's bauxite deposit. Atua Forest has just less than 20% of bauxite deposit, and also is known to be of poor quality. So what we are actually saying is that yes, we stand to benefit from our bauxite reserves. Let's go ahead and do that. But even while doing that, we need to set ourselves boundaries. Because you don't say that you have found gold all over the country, so you go digging everywhere. That is suicidal. If we dig our water source, if we dig our biodiversity, which is responsible for pollination and for supporting the agricultural sector as well, then how are we going to live as a country? Or we are just comfortable because we have just discovered bauxite, and anywhere we find it, we go digging it up. And that is where the problem. So in respect of the opportunities, yes, we see that it is in other parts of the country, and the trade-offs and opportunity costs there are much lower in terms of looking at a place like Atua. It is good to go for the bauxite, but not in Atua Forest. And that is where we are saying that for the benefit of water services, continuous supply of water services, continuous supply of climate services, and biodiversity protection, Atua Forest, which constitutes less than 20% of Ghana's bauxite deposit, should be excluded from the integrated aluminium development agenda.
Now, my final bit to you that I want us to look at, you cannot also talk about greening Ghana, looking at the Galamsey menace and how it is affecting swathes of our land, without also looking at the twists and turns when it comes to Professor Frimpong Boateng, the latest being his invitation and subsequent arrest, so to speak, by the Office of the Special Prosecutor. He's had a lot to say, at a point even bemoaning the fact that he was merely trying to serve his country, that he had put out other reports apart from this latest or this last report that was sent to the Chief of Staff, that was sent to the office, the seat of the President. He said he had sent similar reports to Cabinet and to other, major bodies while he was still at post. Some have questioned how he has been treated. Some have said that even if he had his hands mired in anything, he was looking out for the interest of the country. What is your reaction on those latest developments? I'm pretty sure you followed all of them. That's how we'll cap off this conversation. What's your reaction on how he's being treated vis-a-vis what he thinks he's doing for Mother Ghana?
Benjamin, the matter regarding Professor Frimpong Boateng is quite a shocking one. The way government is handling the whole issue for us has been quite unbelievable, to the extent that this was a serving minister who presented a handing over report somewhere in 2021 March. Government never, even if they did anything, we didn't see it in enforcement or in action, because the issues continued as it is. Somewhere in April 2021 of the same year, the Minister of Land took all of us on 2-day regional workshops, or what you call dialogue, on small-scale mining. And in all the dialogues that were organized across the country, if you take a copy of all the communiques coming out of all those dialogues organized in April, after Prof sent his report in March 2021, every detail of what was said in those communiques, you see no difference between that and the issues Professor Frimpong Boateng raised in his March 2021 report. The only difference between those communiques was the fact that Prof named people who were really derailing efforts to addressing Galamsey. But in the communique, the key issues were this. There were politically exposed persons who were frustrating the process. The minister himself has continuously mentioned it. So to see this report get leaked into the public, and the presidency comes out to say it's a hearsay, personal grievances, and for them to even go after him directly in the manner that they have done, really smacks of some mischief. And we think that it's a deliberate persecution of Professor Frimpong Boateng, because somehow I'm sure they are suspecting that he leaked the report himself, and which is unfortunate. And we've been following, like you said, and it's rather also sad that we have not seen any deliberate action by government to say the issues that were raised in the report, at least now that it is public, we are going to take steps to address them, investigate, or get to the bottom of it. Rather, we see the deliberate active steps by government to go after the whistleblower, which is for me very unfortunate. And even in this case, I wouldn't say he's a whistleblower, because he did his work as a minister, presented a handover note as is officially required of him, and he was being candid and also looking at the interests of the state. So I think it is just unfortunate that we see the matter panning out as it is. And we think that the government needs to sit down carefully and reflect on their own actions and do what is needful. At the moment, it's just disgraceful, and I think it shouldn't go the way it is happening now.
That was my final bit to you, but I just had to clarify. You've kept mentioning government. There's the Office of the Special Prosecutor. How do you address his reaction? That's technically not government, so to speak.
Well, I think that is a point well made, but we also acknowledge that these institutions somehow do not work without some consultation with government in all matters as is required. So we believe that even for every decision and every action to be taken, there is some consultation with the higher echelons of government. So I believe that the calls will come back to the government to ensure that the right thing is done by some of the institutions. And if there's any culpability of they trying to directly persecute him or for some particular interest, it needs to be addressed. We can't say what's that particular interest, but we believe that they need to ensure that the right. Why have they not equally gone after all the persons that were mentioned? We have not seen any of that happen. But this person who brought us information, we are now getting at him from several angles, which is quite unfortunate. So we believe the government agencies who have, I would say, leadership, most of which are appointed by the state itself, need to do their work and make sure that the system is fair in that respect.
Darrell Bosu, we're grateful for your time here with us on the AM show.
Thank you also for having me. It's a great pleasure. Thank you.
Darrell Bosu is Deputy National Director with Arosha, Ghana, an environmental group that has been pushing very hard for afforestation, reforestation, and of course, the protection of the Etiwa forest, sharing his thoughts with us on Green Ghana Day and the gray areas we ought to be looking at. We're taking a breather. When we return, we'll be activating the phone lines for you to share your thoughts on Green Ghana Day and the UEFA Champions League, which kicks off tomorrow. Of course, on the back of that, we have the Hits FM Rep Your Jersey at the Aviation Social Center. We'll be coming to you for your thoughts on that as we conclude the AM show this morning.